Erev Tov to everybody. We want to thank Keren Elguzi Kazachinsky, who is sponsoring the Short Dvar Torah. It's the Ilu Nishmat her father, Amy Yosef Elguzi Ben Sarai Yaakov. They were incredible people who it's so apt that on Parshat Lecha, which speaks about the Aliyah Eretz Yisrael, that there is this sponsoring, that they practiced what they preached. They had a great love for Eretz Yisrael. They came on Aliyah, and we want to thank Keren for sponsoring the Dvar Torah. In Parshat Lech Lecha, we have like an overview of the type of personality Avraham Avinu was and how he's the founder of the Jewish people. It starts off with him coming to Eretz Yisrael, that Hashem promising him that Eretz Yisrael will always be ours. It speaks about Avraham Avinu calling all people to monotheism, to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to reveal HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And then the Torah speaks about Avraham Avinu's great care, patiyut, for mankind, especially for his mishpacha. And it speaks about that Lot was captured by certain kings, and Avraham Avinu went out and he waged a war, and he released his nephew. It's the first time that in the Tanakh that we read about someone being taken hostage, and that Avraham Avinu saving and releasing that hostage. But what I wanted to deal with was two matters to compare. Avraham Avinu comes to Eretz Yisrael. He is promised that everything will be good in Eretz Yisrael, and no sooner does he come, there's a famine, and he has to go down to Egypt. He goes down to Egypt. He says that the woman who's with him, Sarah, is actually his sister, so she's abducted. She's not kidnapped. It's not exactly kidnapped, but she's abducted. She's taken to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh realizes that you know what, he's taken another person's wife, and he returns the wife to Avraham Avinu. And then what he does is, the Torah says that he gives Avraham Avinu gifts. And then Avraham Avinu goes back from Egypt to Eretz Yisrael. Okay, that's the first part of the parasha. The second part of the parasha is when, again, there's this war between 4 kings and 5 kings. The 5 kings, what they do is they capture Lot, who is Abraham's nephew, together with the four kings. The 4 kings captured Lot, together with 5 kings, and part of those 5 kings was the king of Sodom. So anyway, Abraham is very successful in the battle, and Sodom, the king of Sodom, Bera, comes to Abraham after the victory, and he says, you know what, you can keep the booty, you can keep all the loot, you can keep all the pillages of war, but return to me the people who you captured. Return them to me. So Abraham Avinu says, I'll return them to you, but I'm not returning your offer that I should keep the spoils of war that were taken. I'm not keeping the spoils of war, even though technically, legally, they are mine, and I'm returning them to you. And because I don't want you to say, you, the king of Sodom, to say that I'm the one who caused Avraham Avinu to be rich. And all the Mefarshim asked this question: how come that when it came to Pharaoh did something terrible? What he did was, okay, he didn't know 100%, but he took Sarah as a wife, thinking that Sarah was only Abraham's sister. And when he returned Sarah, he gave money to Abraham, and Abraham accepted those gifts. On the other hand, when Sodom offered Abraham Avinu gifts and spoils of war, he refused to take it. Why? In the one case he did take, in the other case he didn't take. So there's a few approaches to this whole inyan, which I wanted to share with you. The first one is that that we look at the type of money that was given. You see, Paro's money was, let's call it clean money. Paro did something which was bad. Okay, afterwards he realized a mistake. He returns Sarah, and then he gives now money also to Abraham. But what type of money is it? It's a money which we could call clean money. But on the other hand, when Sodom wants to give Abraham Avinu money, he says, you know what, you saved me and you saved my money, and I want you to keep the money that from the war. But Abraham doesn't want to keep it because he feels that money is blood money. Abraham Avinu thinks to himself, a person like Sodom, such a corrupt, disgusting person, a person who his whole dynasty, his whole hegemonia is just full of corruption, of not giving tzedakah, of always manipulating the poor. So he thinks all this money that now I've retrieved, and if I now will take it from Sodom as a gift, what type of money is it? It's a money that people, that they gave to Sodom under duress. It's money that he pillaged. It's money that he was a crook from. It's a money which has got no softness about it. It's all blood money. It's all money which is tainted. And that's the reason that he didn't want to take it. And the other approach amongst all the Mefarshim is that the question is, what is in the motivation when Abraham got aid, so to speak, from Paro? He got aid, in inverted commas, an offer of aid from Sodom. What was the motivation of the aid? You see, and that's what Israel finds itself many times in like that it's offered money, or it's offered help, or it's offered aid. The question is, do we take it or we don't take it? So Abraham Avinu, when it came to Paro, he thought to himself, look, why is Paro giving me this money? He's giving it to me as part of an atonement. He feels, Pharaoh says, I took Abraham Avinu's wife. He's partly to blame Abraham, which is not correct, but in Pharaoh's thinking, Abraham's partly to blame. But Akopanim, Pharaoh says, you know what, I thought she was his sister. I didn't ask too many questions. It's a culture which isn't a very moral culture. It takes a woman, like, abducts her against her will. He doesn't ask her anything. Whether she wants to, not she wants to. But now when he returns Sarah to Abraham, and it's accompanied with gifts and money and financial aid, it's a form of kapara. It's a form of atonement. It's like something like similar. It's not the same, but I'm saying it's like similar to what Germany gave reparations as a form of a kapara, an atonement for what they did to the Jewish people in the Holocaust. On the other hand, you look like a person like Sodom, a person like the king of Sodom, who's giving now the money to Abraham Avinu. What is he giving him the money for? What is the purpose of giving him the money? It's just a matter of like an exchange. You know what? You give me my people that were captured by you, and you can keep the money. And the motivation is just to, you know what, that Abraham will be beholden to Sodom. There's no sense of over here trying to benefit Abraham L'Shem Shamayim, or because he likes Abraham. Abraham and Sodom are the antithesis, one against the other. And that's why Abraham doesn't take that type of money, because the question is, what is the motivation of the people who are giving the money? Do they want Abraham to be beholden and indebted to them? So then he's not prepared to take it. And that's got ramifications, obviously, from the way that we, on a collective Medinat Yisrael works. I conclude with the Torah Tamima and others who say that Abraham didn't want to take any money from Sodom because his defeat of the four kings who captured Sodom and captured Lot, it was a miracle. and he didn't want to in any way benefit from a miracle. He went out to war. That's a very, very important thing. He didn't rely on a miracle. Abraham Avinu fought. It's got ramifications to Tafka tonight when there's whole protests about Kiyus, etc. But there is Abraham Avinu, our forefather, went out to fight in order to rescue his nephew. But then the miracle that one person with a very few people should defeat 4 kings, that's something miraculous. He doesn't want to get any benefit from a miracle. And therefore, he doesn't take any money from the king of Sodom. And last of all, like it's a subsection, but what it's actually trying to say is that Abraham Avinu felt that he's doing this great mitzvah, Pidyon Shvoyim, to release hostages. So he's going to get money for that. He wants to do the mitzvah of releasing hostages without any financial, material benefit whatsoever. To do it because that's the correct thing to do. So that's why in the case of Paro, there wasn't a release of hostages, that Paro himself gave over Sarah to Abraham, and therefore he accepted the gift. But now when Abraham fought in order to now release the hostages of that was, in other words, of Lot, he decided that any form of recompense he's not taking it, because he wants to show that there isn't a greater value out of Ben Adam Lechabeiro than the inyan of Pidyon Shvoyim. Mizrat Hashem, the remaining of our hostages should be returned to Keber Yisrael b'mheira mamash in the next couple of days. Shabbat shalom to everyone.